Welcome back to Ask Dr. Clarke. Today, I'm going to give you another sneak peek at my brand new video series, Dr. David E. Clarke Teaches Counseling. We've had a great response, and we'd like more people to be aware of this series and frankly to buy it. If you're a counselor, if God's called you to counsel on any level, this series is going to be, I think, very important for you. It's reasonably priced, if I do say so myself, and it's filled with practical do's and don'ts I've learned over 35 years of clinical practice. Most of which I did not learn in my graduate school experience. Even though that was helpful, foundational, you learn as you go in counseling. This video series is now available on my website, David E. Clarke, Clarke with an E on the end, as you know, davideclarkephd.com. You can go to the site and you can watch a free introductory video to the series. Now let's take a brief look at resistance. Title of today's presentation is Every Person You Counsel Will Resist. Here's a little taste of that. I have a whole video, of course, on this in the series, but in your counseling, there are 3 areas you must be skilled in to be successful. Number 1, you understand resistance, today's topic. Number 2, you always have a plan. Number 3, you know how to terminate clients, how to end the counseling relationship. Let's take a look at resistance. Every client resists change, every single one. Never had it different in 35 years of working with people. Every individual client resists, every couple resists. It's human nature. Here's my definition of resistance. Very simple. Any attempt by the client to avoid the pain of changing. Now, the client will tell you these things, and they're not true. The client will say, I've come in because I want to change. No, that's actually not true. You like the theory of change, but you don't really want to do the practical steps, which are painful, to change. Client will say, I want to work hard to change. No, you really don't. They don't know the price of change yet, and the price of change is always high. All these new therapies, how easy it is, one session, shifting your eyes. No, change is hard. It's always hard. Client will say, I will tell you the entire truth. No, you won't. You get as much truth as possible with the history that you take, and I cover that in one of the videos too. Very careful history, every person you see the first time. But it's never the entire truth. That's okay. You got to build the relationship, and then as time goes on, they will tell you everything because they have to trust you first. That's fair. Client will say, I won't blame anyone else for my problems. No, you will. That's what people do. It's very hard to own 100% of the fault for your issues. Blaming someone else began in the Garden of Eden, as we know, when Adam told God, talk about nerve, the woman you put here with me, she gave me some fruit from the tree and I ate it. Really, Adam? Adam is blaming God, and he's also blaming Eve. And of course, Eve blamed the serpent. An important part of counseling is getting your clients, forcing them really to own 100% responsibility for their problems and to do 100% of the work required to change. They don't own it all. They're not going to change at all. Often others have wounded them deeply. Okay, that's part of the process. But they still have to own their problems and do the work to heal, forgive, and change. The Bible does not allow you to blame anyone else for your sins, ever. It's always on you. Now, clients will fight change. They'll do it aggressively in your face. They'll do it kind of subtly in sneaky ways, late for appointments, not doing homework, but they'll always resist change. Couples, in fact, bring 5 types of resistance to counseling. I work with couples for 35 years, kind of shifting away from that now and working with individuals who are in marital crisis. But nonetheless, I've seen a lot of couples in my time. The husband resists you. The husband blames the wife resists you, and the wife blames the husband. And then as a couple, as a system, all right, as a unit, they will resist you. That's one reason why, especially with a couple, you've got to have a very clear plan. Otherwise, they will squash you like a bug because you're dealing with a system, not just one person. So the key is to expect resistance because you're going to face it, learn to identify it, and use it to your advantage in counseling. Find out how each client resists and why they resist. That's good therapy. That's good counseling. If they don't get past their resistance, they're not changing. And they'll also drive you nuts. Resistance is part of their problem. As I mentioned before, I've got one entire video on resistance. I identify the types of resistance and how you need to respond to each type. So go to my website, davideclarkephd.com, Clarke with an E, and watch the free introductory video to the Dr. David E. Clarke Teaches Counseling video series. Then, of course, buy the video series. That's what's known as subliminal advertising. Of course, it's up to you, but I think it's going to help you. If you counsel people, I did this video series for you. Now, when you buy this series, here's what you get. Of course, you get the 13 videos, my notes for the series, the forms I use in my counseling practice, which will help you in your practice, your counseling program, and a free 20-minute coaching phone call with me. I've done a number of these recently where counselors of all types, pastors, lay counselors, biblical counselors, church-based counselors, life coaches will call and we'll talk about their counseling. And I get the sketch and I can give them, my expertise. I think it's helping people. And by the way, if you want additional coaching for your counseling ministry, do what these folks are doing. You can call me. Of course, it'll cost you, but I think it's worthwhile. Usually just once or twice, but if you have a difficult case or want to cover any aspect of counseling, well, then that's what I'm for. You can use my phone advice service for that, which is also listed on the website.